You're watching UATV News. My name is Ina Kosinska. Good evening. Plus 9,850 cases of COVID-19 in Ukraine over the past day. An anti-record for the number of new cases of coronavirus infection is registered for the third day in a row. Only in Kyiv, 983 people fell ill. This is also the maximum since the beginning of the pandemic. In addition, Kharkiv, Khmelnytsky and Zaporizhia regions are among the leaders in terms of growth. Minister of Health Maxim Stepanov asks the Verkhovna Rada to allow fines on the spot for the lack of the protective mask.
It is planned that the specific penalty for not wearing masks will be from $6 to $9. In this case, these fines will be directly on the spot, and not as it was before. Earlier, the report was made, the resolution was transferred to court, and the court decided whether to impose a fine or not.
Ukraine expects to be one of the first to receive a vaccine against the coronavirus by the British company AstraZeneca. This was stated by the Minister of Health Maxim Stepanov at a meeting with British Ambassador Melinda Simmons. They also discussed the involvement of Ukrainian enterprises in the production of a British drug and the development of a Ukrainian vaccine against COVID-19 in our country. The vote count continues in the United States. Democratic candidate Joe Biden is ahead of incumbent President Donald Trump. The latter has already reported tampering and rigging and has filed claims over the counting of votes in key states. Oleksiy Matsuka has details from the USA.
The day after the presidential election here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there is a rally of those who call to count every vote. People came to this meeting to make sure and in some way even put pressure on the state authorities, so that the votes of everyone who voted by mail are taken into account. This is due to the fact that President Donald Trump has repeatedly stated earlier that it is possible to abandon the counting of votes that came by mail and early voting. However, locals demand that all this way taken into account in Pennsylvania. This is one of the key states for victory. A candidate can receive 20 electoral votes from the state. 12.8 million people live here, and the outcome of the election in the United States will largely depend on the results in this state.
The reason I stay here is because my parents adopted me so I could have a chance as an American with free rights in this country. I'm here to make sure that the votes are equal in this country. We have a president right now that claims that mail-in ballots aren't valid, when in reality that's the exact opposite. That's called propaganda. He is keeping the people that already have trouble voting in this country down. It is a form of voter suppression and it's not right.
My deep reason for everyone is to make sure that we keep health care. Make sure we get the respect and that we deserve out here. Make sure that Trump don't continue to make United States his little playground.
For a positive change back to the way, at least try to get back to the way we used to be, democracy, not the way it is now. Right now we're in a battle of hate and love. It feels like we're divided and we all need to come together. Doesn't need to be Trump. We need better health care. We need more opportunities for jobs. We need people to have an opportunity to go get work, affordable housing.
I'm a single mom and this is very passionate for me. You know, I want change and I believe in it and I still got big hope that Biden is going to win and I believe it. So I'm here for that and I'm going to stand strong. Regardless of what happens, I still believe and I know that goodness is going to come out of anything because I believe in goodness. So that's why I'm here and I stay here.
Donald Trump campaign's headquarters announced that they are demanding to stop the counting of votes in Philadelphia through the court. Earlier, the headquarters filed a similar lawsuit over the Michigan vote. The reason for the lawsuit is non-standard. Allegedly, observers from the Republican Party were not allowed to the counting machines within 25 feet. The court ultimately refused to consider the claim, as the judge decided that the observer's task was to observe and not interfere with the voting process. The counting of votes in Pennsylvania has been going on for 2 days. And at this time, demonstrations continue on the streets of the city.
Count every vote! Count every vote! Count every vote!
Every vote is sacred. I believe that the definition of sin is that anything that tears the thread of our interconnection, tears at our belief and feeling of interdependence is sinful. Not counting every vote is a sin against the civil religion of America, of democracy.
We are in Washington, D.C. on the first day after the election. Small meetings are held here as well. People gather to shout anti-Trump slogans together and in support of presidential candidate Biden. Everything is going quite peacefully, despite the fact that the day before there had been minor clashes with the police. Washington Police Chief Patton Usman told reporters on Wednesday that he was very pleased that demonstrations outside the White House are proceeding calmly. Only a couple of minor incidents were recorded. As a result, 4 people were arrested. But the situation in New York, Chicago and Portland was more tense. The protesters demanded a transparent counting of ballots received by mail, because every vote is worth its weight in gold. The gap between the candidates are minimal. Reported by Roman Smoler, Oleksiy Matsuka, Ruslan Belozorov, UATV News.
Aleksandr Lukashenko's presidential term expires today. This was his 5th term. He has been in power for 26 years. This September, Lukashenko held a secret inauguration. However, most countries did not recognize him as the re-elected president of Belarus. Chairman of Ukrainian Foreign Ministry Dmytro Kuleba previously stated that Lukashenko would be officially named without defining a position. The leader of the Belarusian opposition, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, says that in order to achieve a transition of power, peaceful protests must continue. Lukashenko loses the last element of legitimacy on November 5th. And if some countries perhaps still believed that he had some kind of legitimacy, now it's over. So there is nothing more to hold on to with his dead fingers. The Belarusians are going to arrange for Lukashenko's sign-off of the tribunal. Massive protests in the country continue for the 88th day. People demand the resignation of Lukashenko, new elections, and punishment of the security officials involved in violence against protesters. Argentina through the eyes of women artists. The exhibition under such name was organized by the Embassy of Argentina and National Information Agency Ukrinform in Kyiv. The artists, using unique techniques, reflected the beauty of their country and its inhabitants in the photo. The First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelenska, also visited the exhibition. Happiness Club, a development center for kids with autism, has been created in Odesa. The idea belongs to one of the mothers of a special child. She provided her apartment, where they are going to arrange a sensory room. Our correspondents will tell you more.
4-year-old Sawa has a severe form of autism. His mother Victoria knows how difficult it is for parents, so she decided to open the Happiness Club.
It's a modest club for moms. Girls will be able to come here and share their problems. We will help in any way we can. We help you financially, help you to find a job, and so on.
Victoria equips the center in the apartment she grew up in. She wants to unite psychologists, teachers, speech therapists who also have special children. They will study in a special sensory room.
This is a sensory room. There are special toys that are very important for such children, for the development of motor skills. There are not just toys, but specialized ones. Not every mother can afford it, and not every child will be playing the same toys.
Rehabilitation of a child with autism costs at least $15 per day in Ukraine. In the Happiness Club, clashes will be free. But the most important thing is communication between parents and children.
It is a support for both children and parents, because very few people who have children who speak and read at the age of 5 understand such children as ours.
Children and their parents are welcomed in the Club of Happiness every day in the evenings on weekdays and in the afternoon on weekends. Reported by Roman Smoler, Anna Gorodentseva, Arsen Podosyan, UATV News.
Animals clones in Kharkiv reservoirs. Biologists have discovered hundreds of marble mutant crayfish. All are exclusively female and they give offspring without a male. How dangerous they are, our correspondent found out.
We are looking for crayfish. Biologist Sergei Sidorovsky is looking for marble mutant crayfish in a reservoir near Kharkiv. Recently he caught them here with his bare hands, but this time they went to the bottom. They were here, one just ran away. Marble crayfish, unlike ordinary river crayfish, are larger and more aggressive, and they have claws almost like a scorpion's ones. Well, they are completely different, small, and their claws are small. And in general, they behave differently. I have seen many crayfish. They cooked them here, ate them, scooped them up with grabs.
That is, there are many of them?
An awful lot. Serhiy Sidorovsky has been studying crustaceans for 10 years. He says these mutants were created for an experiment by German pet traders in the 1990s. Well, this is how it looks. The marbled crayfish is young and it has small number of eggs on its abdomen.
So it's a female?
Yes.
And when she has offspring?
In a month. Mutant crayfish reproduce without mating. All descendants are females. They clone their own kind every month. In 2006, when this species appeared in Europe, there were only several dots on the map. Now the entire Europe is filled with dots, as you see. Mutant crayfish have been banned in the European Union since 2014. They have already filled the reservoirs of Europe, the USA and the island of Madagascar. There are no ways of fighting them at the moment. That is, we haven't yet found a way to destroy them, so that it does not compete with our crayfish. The means that can destroy them can affect our crayfish species as well. The Kharkiv biologist fears that even more aggressive species may appear in the Ukrainian water reservoirs. Red marsh crayfish and striped crayfish. There are already quite a few of them in Polish waters. Reported by Vadim Kramer, Natalia Bilokudria, UATV News.
A bus without driver. An unnamed shuttle is being tested in Canada. It will be able to carry 8 passengers and speed up to 25 kilometers per hour. The bus is controlled by a software that recognizes obstacles by sensors. The test route is small, 1.5 kilometers. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the bus still runs without passengers. That's all for this hour. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages. Stay safe and good night.